as you've earlier, that the Rochester used to be called Flower City with Flour, and now it's called Flower City Flower. So when two words sound similar, that's called a homophone. Can you describe a situation where you misheard someone say a word that you thought they said a different word, but they sounded similar? Matthew.
Thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master. It looks like you're looking for a story of mistaken homophones. And fortunately, those happen all the time when there are 1 and 3 and 5-year-olds around. So they happen all the time with the 1-year-old. It's not exactly homophone, but she is very convinced that she's saying the right word, and I have no idea what she's saying. We have deciphered a few of the words that, again, not exactly homophones, but Mia. What do you think she's saying? Mia. That's how she says, come here. Stacy's got it. All right.
I work with seniors.
Yes, you do. So we jumped to the 5-year-old, and what was there was one today, but I don't think I'm going to be able to recall it right now. So homophones like flower and flower, that is a question that the 5-year-old would ask me all the time. If he knows the word flower, Flower, and his mother says, we need the flour to bake some bread, be prepared for a 10-minute conversation, because he's going to want to understand. How are you going to make bread with flowers? Do you pull the petals off first? Don't the bees need the flowers? So the whole thing will have to be explained. So homophones, mistaken homophones happen all the time with kids around. Mr. Table Topics Master. Efflorescently.
That didn't count. That was after it. I'm just kidding. I apologize. And thank you, Matt, for that wonderful table topics response. I apologize. I forgot to ask the timer. What is the time going to be for the table topics portion? The times.
Oh, I went over it.
Oh, you did. Oh, you did. I'm sorry. No, you're
Okay.
fine. I thought we didn't do that. I'm sorry.
You can ask my assistant.
Okay. She's doing an awesome job. Any additional volunteers? Oh, yes. Yeah. Okay. So as you know, one of the big events that happens in Rochester is the Lilac Festival. Can you describe a time when you had experience at the Lilac Festival, if you did? Thanks.
Sure. Hi, toasty people. I actually just went to the Lilac Festival for my birthday for the first time last Thursday with Julie. I had probably the most amount of fun, and they had a band there called Almost Queen, which sounded almost exactly like Queen, so I guess it befits to their name. You'd think that you'd get that. They had, the guy had like the long hair, and there was the guy who looked like Freddie Mercury, white shirt and all, and I just was astounded at that. And we ran into some old people that we used to know, which was really funny. But ironically enough, while we were there, I think there was a fire or something that started, and there was just so much smoke all over the place, and it made it very hard to walk around. And ironically enough, also super expensive, but when isn't the Lilac Festival expensive? So yeah, that was my encounter with the Lilac Festival.
Well, thank you so much. Timer, do we have time for one more?
One more.
One more, okay. Any volunteers? How about, oh, okay, Lindsay then. give you an easy one. Can you describe your recent nature walk or park experience?
Sure. I'm trying to decide if going to the Lilac Festival is a nature walk experience. You see, if you go before the festival or after the festival, yes, it's absolutely a nature walk. When the Lilac Festival is there, there's just too many people. There's lots of fluorescents. I'm using the word, I just don't know how to say it. However, I wouldn't consider it nature. Somewhat recently, I was visiting my sister, however, and my dad and I decided to take the dog, tiny little French bulldog Piper, for a walk. And next to her house is a stream, and there's a beautiful path on the other side of that stream. And we walked about a mile, not too far. We saw deer prints. We heard the beautiful babbling sounds of the creek. We heard, unfortunately, cars going by. Lots of greenery was seen, and it was just beautiful. And to experience this with Piper, who is one of the most well-behaved dogs I have ever taken on a walk, just smelling everything that we could not imagine smelling, was a wonderful experience. Mr. Caleb,
Those were all great responses, and thank you, Lindsay. Sorry, I'd like to now introduce the Toastmaster next.
Do you have any comments?
Yes. Wait, I thought I'd do that during my speech.
No.
Oh, okay. So, sorry. So I'm supposed to give comments based on all the inputs that were given for table topics. So I guess I'll do that now. So Matt B, for the question that I gave you about homophones, I love that I love how you mentioned how about your kids and how it's always very easily where you get the experience of like there's like some misunderstandings or kind of like you have to kind of decipher in terms of the communication. So I loved how you fit that into the answer, even though it's not quite related to homophones, but to some degree, to some extent, it kind of is in the halfway mark. So I appreciate that. Jen, for the Lilac Festival, I was kind of like shocked about the whole fire situation that happened, and I think I did gloss over when I was going through like a news feed earlier that something did happen related to like a fire. I did see that in like one of the local news, so I was kind of shocked, but I'm glad you and everyone else seemed safe, so that's good. And last but not least, Lindsay, thank you for sharing about your experience about going through nature with Piper, even though there were some background car noises going on. So thank you. So I'd like to now introduce back the Toastmaster of the day, Matt.
Thanks, Ed. I just want to put a thing in there about the Lilac Festival. You need to ask Brendan about fried dough and a random person, unless I'm mixing them up with someone else. I don't think so. You don't know what I'm talking about? Did you drop the fried dough on someone, all the powder?
No, I did drop my cord.
Who was that? Anyway, it doesn't matter. I had a friend, and maybe it was a dream then, that they were eating fried dough and all the powder blew off onto a person who was sort of crouching down smelling lilacs, and I thought it was Brendan, but wow. Moving along to more important things. We're going to move on to the prepared speeches component. And so we have one speech for you tonight, and it's going to be by Lou Ciano. This is a follow-up to his level 5 high-powered leadership project. So when you get into the upper levels of these pathways, you do high-powered leadership projects, which is pretty cool. And he did an excellent one. I was there. It was really excellent in this building. And this is his post-project thoughts. So let's invite Lou, and it's 8 to 10 minutes? 5 minutes? 5 minutes. 5 minutes or so. Okay. All right, Lou, Ciano.
Imagine you have not seen your fellow Toastmaster friend for more than 3 years. The last in-person district event that I attended was March 2020. Some of those people I have not seen in person for more than 3 years. But you have the opportunity to see people face to face for that first time, and the magic that happens in that space. Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and welcome guests. One guest who was there this past Saturday. It's great to see you again. Yes. When setting out to plan something, I think there's people that always have ideas. I think you've seen these tropes in movies or TV shows. The businessman that has 20 different businesses jumps from one business idea to another. I have a great idea. I'm going to do this. But somehow something happens in the implementation and the planning process, and something doesn't follow through. So there's this opportunity in pathways when you get to the higher levels that leadership is this leadership component of having this vision of something, putting a team together, communicating what that is, and planning that event. And I've learned so much from that process. And these are lessons that I didn't just learn through this planning this event. There's some major lessons that I've been continuing to learn for the last 3 years of this experience of March 2020, we were in person, and now we're not. And I'm grateful, first of all, for those in my team, in my circle, who are helping me. Part of the committee to help plan this event was Brendan, Matt Benedict, and Xavier, fellow Toastmaster from Tiger Tails. And those people have been crucial in my life, giving me feedback, not just in this event, but through leadership in the last 3 years in this club. And it really shows that you cannot, not one man can do the whole show. You need a team of people, and a team of people that are in sync and working together. So I'm grateful for those people in my life, for being on the same page and helping to make this event what it is. Some highlights. Pam drove an hour and 20 minutes to get there on a Saturday morning. Yes, she was 20 minutes late, but she drove from Lockport and still made it because she wanted to see her Toastmasters friends in person. Brendan made a special comment. If you see her, give her a hug. Give her some special love. She has not. She drove all this way. Former district director, person that we value. And how many quotes were there from Arlene Brown? Arlene Brown, charter member, right, of this club. Am I not wrong?
You are correct.
And has influenced dozens of people in District 65. There was, I think, 6 people. We had takeaways at the end of the event. The event was structured where we organized the groups based on trying to mix up people not sitting in the same clubs that they're from. And it was great. It was a mix of veterans from 20 plus years to people who just came to one meeting. Ahmad, is that how I say your name? Ahmad. And seeing that mix was great. And so at the end we had takeaways, and I think there was like 6 people, and they kept saying, "Oh, you stole my quote from Arlene." And so to have this distinguished Toastmaster, and when I say distinguished, it's not just the title, it's the influence she's earned in District 65. To see that and to hear comments from new upcoming Toastmasters, it was wonderful. As part of this project, there's this optional 360 evaluation. And like I said, I received feedback from these gentlemen on my committee for the last 3 years. It's not just this event. The main piece of feedback that I receive as a leader is delegation. The power of delegation. Now, if you know my personality, I'm a type J on the Myers-Briggs. If you know what J is, you overplan, and I like the way I say is I plan so that I don't have to stress in that moment. Now, the problem with that is if you plan to do everything, you will stress in the moment. So, learning feedback, having that time with my committee, feedback of assigning tedious tasks before the meeting. This time you have with the committee is about what is the purpose of this event, what is the heart and reason for this, and how can we make this happen? Any small tedious things could be communicated before the end time of planning. So that space to delegate where, as Matt has given me feedback, I can only wear one hat at a time. I've seen people wear multiple hats at a time, it doesn't look good. So you can only wear one hat at a time. So give the hat to someone else. They can wear the hat. So that was something I'm continuing to learn. Overall, I'm grateful for the event, and I gave a charge at the end of the event. Man, this was a great event. And you're probably thinking, when's the next one? Guess what? If you're level 4 or 5, you can plan the next Toastmasters networking event. Don't let this be the only one. And someone who was there was Sam Otto, our future elect District 65 director. And for him to see himself there, but also to share his life in person, I think he's very excited for what we have is ahead of us in District 65 and how Pinnacle Toastmasters is leading the way in in-person connection. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Excellent job, Lou. It really was inspiring Saturday. Next, we have the evaluation. Are there 2? Is there one? Yeah. Let's see. Oh, love note. Yeah. We need to do a love note. Multiples.
Give us an hour for love note.
So 1 hour, please. 1 minute on the clock, and you'll find that paper in front of you. Ahmad, yep, I think it's that one, yes. And then if you want to just write your thoughts to Luciano about his speech there, that would be wonderful. So 1 minute. Eden.
Kind.
That was an estimate. Looks like we're still writing. Maybe 10 more seconds. Okay, alrighty. So moving on to our evaluations. We are going to have an evaluation for Ed, that makes sense. And then for Luciano. So let me call up the general evaluator, who is Paul. Paul will lead us through this evaluations time. Paul.
Good evening. As everybody has said, evaluations are very important. Yes, I get that. But I'm going to do it because Dr. Matt was our Toastmaster, we're going to do it like an anatomy. This is how an evaluation works like an anatomy. There's certain parts of your body that are important for your anatomy. So the first part is your head. Your head is really important because it tells you where to go, what to do, what to see, what you're feeling, what you're thinking, all that kind of stuff. The next part of your, most important part of your evaluation, that's the first part of the evaluation is the head. What's good, what's going on. The next part is your middle part, because that's where all the good stuff happens. When you eat all that food, chocolate. When you eat all that bad food and your sugar thing goes off, that's good. Or when you don't. But that's the stuff that we're going to help you with, the evaluation. And the last part of the evaluation is your feet. Because you're not going to go anywhere if your head tells your feet to go someplace and your feet don't go anywhere. So again, that's good too. So we want to kind of put it in there with like head, good stuff we'll tell you, we'll help you with, and then feet. Okay, so that's the evaluation. Just like everything else in this world, the evaluations are timed. Madam Timer, could you please read the timing rules?
So at green, it'll be 2 minutes. At yellow, it'll be 2.5. And at red, it will be 3.
Very cool. Thank you, ma'am. Our first evaluator evaluating Ed's speech is Brendan Francis.
He's almost there. There we go. Head, tummy, shoes.
There you go.
Try and keep to it. Overall, Ed, one of the things I want to encourage you in is, despite your prefacing comments, I thought those were some really nice questions. For the theme, they were thought-provoking, appropriate for the events in our city in the last week or so. So, right off the bat, great questions. Second feedback, don't cut yourself out right from the beginning. You know, if you planned it last minute, if anyone in the room can show of hands, like if he hadn't said that, I don't think anyone else would have noticed that he created those questions last minute. Yeah, so don't be the one to put yourself down in that scenario. Just do it confidently, and I think most people can relate in this room that a lot of stuff happens last minute in life, and that's also okay. The main point of this project, as you know, is not only facilitating the table topic session, but responding to each of the people. And I think the original intention of the project is to comment as they go. And one thing I wanted to highlight that you did really well, and where I felt you were most comfortable, was with none of the table topic speakers, and it was specifically Eden. She was the assistant timer, and you made some little, whatever quintessential Ed aura personality that you have, made like, oh, she's doing a lovely job or great job. I forget exactly what you said. But in that moment, like that right there, that little interaction with Eden, seeing her, seeing what she's doing, interacting, that's the essence of what this project was getting at. And your report at the end, which I know it's just the logistics of it, so if you do this project again, or the point is to, this plants the seed for all your future active listening moments outside of table topics, in table topics, but to take those opportunities to have fun with it. Just be comfortable, be yourself, make a little playful acknowledgement, joke, pat on the back to the assistant timer who decided to help and apparently gave up on our duties halfway through the meeting. But I think Stacy can pull through for the rest of the way. I see you. So overall, continue to take those moments of don't cut yourself out in the beginning. You probably could have faked it and we wouldn't even known. And they truly were good questions. So let that sink in to whatever you might be feeling. And then those little genuine moments of spark between you and somebody out there in this room, whether they gave it table topics or a little girl in the room was pointing me down. Everybody look at her. Continue practicing that because you've got it. Just let it be natural and flowing and you'll have fun. Everyone else will have fun. Eden will be slightly embarrassed, but she'll have fun too. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Brendan. Our second evaluator evaluating Luciano's speech is Karen.
General Evaluator, Toastmasters, and especially Lou. I really liked your speech. I liked how you described what the event was, as if I was there. I also liked how you talked about your feedback on what it takes to plan the meeting, especially when you're doing too much at once. Take a step back, plan the task, what each person can do to help you. And you're not wearing more than one hat, even though you may have felt like you were at the time. The things that I would like to see you improve on or show us is those many hats. Like, maybe bring a tall stack of hats in and wear them, and then just take them off as you're talking about those hats and explain what each hat means. The other thing is, demonstrate what it looks like to plan a meeting. Maybe have a chart. Maybe pretend you're at the event again and show us what it looks like to be in a group. Like, hey, you did this, you're doing this, you could do that. But other than that, it was a great speech. And I also liked how you encouraged us as a club when we get to where you are to do that, to take it to the next level and continue it. It's like continuing generation after generation of grandma stories. And I think that that is amazing. I hope to hear from you again. Thank you for your speech. Back to you, Johnny Evaluator.
Okay. Thank you, Karen. First and foremost, we have some functionary positions. So could I get the timers report on the speeches and evaluations?
So for the speeches, Lou's speech was 7 minutes and 19 seconds. For the, I didn't time yours, was I supposed to? The evaluator, Brendan, 3 minutes and 3 seconds. Evaluator 2, Karen, was 2 minutes and 14 seconds.
Thank you very much. And Julie, I guess you have a double role? No. No? Just the O'Connor? Okay. Would you mind doing an O'Connor report for us, please, Julie?
I sure can.
Ed, boy oh boy. You got us off to a great start. Great! You had 2 uhs, 1 on, 1 so, 1 like, and 3 ums. Bro, gotta do better. Matt M.
Yes.
Like is not a real word.
I'll let go of the 1 but you gotta stop saying that like. Jen, times 4. 4 of them. 4! Okay, stay.